Welcome to Golden Life Wisdom. I'm so thankful you're here. They say a wise man doesn't love 1,000 women. He loves one woman in 1,000 different ways. And when a man is truly in love, you don't need poetry to hear it. You'll feel it in the quiet, ordinary things he says. The words that make you feel safe, cherished, and truly seen. Because after 60, love changes its voice. It no longer shouts to be heard. It whispers softly. It speaks with gentleness, steadiness, and truth. It's not about chasing fireworks anymore. It's about tending the flame that already warms your heart. Yet many women over 60 still ask me, how do I know if he really loves me? Deeply, honestly, without pretending. That's what we'll reflect on together today. Not through the loud declarations or grand gestures, but through the simple, everyday sentences that reveal a man's heart. These are the 7 phrases a man says when his love has matured, when he's no longer trying to prove something, but to live something real. So if you've ever wondered whether love can grow deeper with age, or if true connection can still surprise you long after 60, stay with me. Because in the quiet world of mature romance, the most beautiful words are often the simplest ones. And if this reflection speaks to your heart, I invite you to like this video and subscribe to Golden Life Wisdom for more stories, insights, and reflections on the tender wisdom of love in later life. Now let's begin. Let's listen for the very first phrase. The one that reveals his heart is already walking toward yours. Sign number 1, I'm on my way. At first glance, it's such a simple phrase. I'm on my way. Yet when spoken with sincerity, it carries more love than 100 poems ever could. When I was younger, I thought love meant grand gestures, flowers, late-night phone calls, romantic surprises. But one rainy evening changed that understanding forever. My car had broken down miles from home. I called the man I was seeing at the time, told him what happened. He sighed, said, "Oh no, that's awful. I hope you find someone to help." And then silence. A week later, a friend of mine, someone I barely knew, heard about it. His first words were, "Stay right there. I'm on my way." He showed up drenched, flashlight in hand, smiling like it was the most natural thing in the world. That night, I learned something that stayed with me all my life. Love doesn't always speak in poetry. Sometimes it shows up with wet shoes and warm hands. When a man truly loves you, he doesn't wait for the perfect timing. He shows up, in person, through a call, through a small act of care. Even if he can't come himself, he sends someone who can. I'm on my way means you will never face the storms of life alone. It's not about heroism. It's about responsibility born out of affection. It's not a performance, it's a promise. And that, dear friends, is what real love after 60 looks like. 2 people who keep showing up again and again, because that's what commitment becomes when passion matures. Over the years, I've realized a quiet truth. When a man says, "I'm on my way," he's not just moving his body toward you. His heart has already arrived. Now, let's listen for another phrase, a familiar one on the surface, yet still one of the deepest truths love can speak. Sign number 2, I love you. 3 small words, simple, sacred, timeless. But not every woman who's heard them has truly felt them. When we're younger, I love you is often spoken like punctuation, rushed, routine, even habitual. But in mature love, after 60, those words transform. They become deliberate, careful, and full of meaning. Many women tell me, "I haven't heard, 'I love you' in years, even from the man I live with." He might show affection in other ways, brewing coffee, fixing something around the house, sitting beside her quietly. But the words themselves never come. And over time, that silence begins to sound like distance. Because no matter how old we are, every soul needs to hear love spoken aloud. When a man truly loves you, he's not afraid to say it. He doesn't use those words as decoration. He uses them as truth. Yes, some men carry old scars. They've been hurt, abandoned, or misunderstood. To them, saying, "I love you," feels like handing someone the power to break them again. But healing doesn't come through silence. Real love, mature love, speaks gently but clearly. If a man says things like, "You mean a lot to me," or "You're special," but avoids the words, "I love you," he's still protecting himself, not you. Those phrases are kind, but they lack ownership. They hover around affection without stepping into it. "I love you" is different. It means I choose you. It means I see you. It means I'm responsible for the way I treat your heart. That's why those 3 words, even whispered softly, carry such power. Let me ask you something. When was the last time someone told you, "I love you"? Not out of habit, but out of truth. And how did that moment feel? I'd love to hear your reflections in the comments below. Your story might remind another woman that love, spoken or silent, still matters deeply, even now. Now, the next phrase reveals not just what he feels, but how proudly he claims it. Sign number 3, you're my girlfriend. My wife. It's official. There comes a moment in every relationship when words stop being casual and start becoming declarations. When a man looks at you with quiet pride and says, "You're my woman," everything changes. In that instant, something invisible shifts. The air feels more certain. The connection that once floated undefined now has shape and weight. Over the years, I've noticed something. Some men love genuinely, but never claim it. They hold your hand, laugh with you, even dream with you, but hesitate to give what you share a name. And then there are the others, men who stand tall in their affection. They say, "This is my partner. This is my person," not to impress anyone, but to honor what they've found. I once knew a woman in her 70s, a widow, who started dating again after years alone. Her new companion was kind, thoughtful, and funny, but every time they went out, he introduced her as a good friend. Months passed. She began to feel uncertain. One afternoon, she told him gently, "I don't need a title. I just need to know you're not hiding me." The next week, at a small family lunch, he took her hand and said, "Everyone, this is my girlfriend." She told me later, it wasn't the title that mattered. It was the courage behind it. And that's the essence of mature love. A man who truly loves you isn't afraid of clarity. He doesn't keep you in the shadows of maybe. He brings you into the light of his life. Because real love, especially love after 60, isn't about playing safe. It's about standing beside someone, not behind fear or convenience. There's incredible power in being chosen openly. Sometimes those few words, "You're mine. It's official. This is us," speak louder than any promise ring ever could. Love, in the end, isn't measured by what's whispered in private. It's revealed by what someone is proud to say out loud. Sign number 4, how are you feeling? A man's heart isn't shown by how often he says, "I love you." It's shown by how often he asks, "How are you feeling?" Those 5 words may sound ordinary, but they reveal something rare: emotional intelligence and genuine concern. In love after 60, we don't crave constant excitement. We crave emotional understanding, the kind that sees beneath the surface. When a man loves deeply, he begins to tune in. He notices the pause in your voice, the silence behind your smile, the sigh that follows your "I'm fine." And when he asks, "How are you feeling?" he isn't asking to fix you. He's asking to join you. But here's what experience has taught me. Men can only meet you in the spaces where they're invited. If you always answer, "I'm fine," he'll eventually stop asking. Not because he stopped caring, but because he's learned that's as far as he's allowed to go. Independence is beautiful, but if it becomes a wall, love has nowhere to breathe. So when he asks, let him in, even a little. Share something about your day, your worries, your small joys. Because emotional intimacy is built one honest moment at a time. And when a man keeps asking how you're feeling, even when you seem strong, that's when you know. He's not just loving your presence, he's loving your soul. So far, we've explored how love after 60 begins to speak through presence, clarity, and care. But the deeper signs, the ones that truly reveal devotion, are found in how a man cherishes your happiness, shares your world, and keeps the connection alive with conversation. Let's continue. Sign number 5, I want to make you happy. Happiness is its own language, quiet, radiant, and deeply human. When a man says, I want to make you happy, he isn't speaking about grand gestures. He's confessing that your joy has become part of his own. That's one of the miracles of mature love, how a man's affection evolves. In youth, men often love to impress. But with time, that desire softens. It shifts from performance to presence. I remember a story from a senior community group I once led. One woman shared that her husband of 35 years still asks her every morning, what would make today a little brighter for you? She laughed and said, sometimes it's coffee on the porch. Sometimes it's a drive to the ocean. He doesn't always get it right, but he never stops trying. That, right there, is what real love looks like when it matures. Not perfect, but persistent. It keeps showing up in small, sincere ways. When a man truly loves you, your smile becomes his measure of success. He doesn't chase excitement anymore. He studies you. He listens. He learns that your peace, your comfort, your laughter, these are his greatest achievements. There's even research to support this truth. A study from the University of Michigan found that couples who express a genuine desire to make each other happy experience higher satisfaction and lower stress in later years. It's not the words alone that matter. It's the consistent practice of care. It's the daily tenderness that accumulates quietly, shaping a peaceful life together. But here's something we often overlook. When a man says, I want to make you happy, he's not only offering love, he's also asking for permission. He's saying, let me love you in the ways I know how. Let me contribute to your peace. Mature love is not about keeping score. It's about keeping hearts open. When you meet someone who takes joy in your joy, you've found something rare. A man whose happiness begins exactly where yours does. Sign number 6, we, us, our. There's a quiet shift that happens when a man moves from saying I to saying we. It's subtle, but it transforms everything. Suddenly, his life isn't a single melody anymore. It becomes a duet. His thoughts begin to include you, your rhythm, your comfort, your dreams. When a man starts saying things like, we should visit that place, or our home, or us, together, he's not just planning activities. He's revealing the way he now thinks. You've become part of his inner landscape. You're no longer someone he visits. You're someone he builds with. In love after 60, that is one of the most profound signs of commitment. It's not about promises of forever. It's about acknowledgement that your lives are already intertwined. Some men struggle with this shift. They cling to independence, believing that partnership means surrendering identity. But that's a misunderstanding. True love, especially later in life, doesn't erase individuality. It harmonizes it. It's two melodies learning to play together without silencing each other's notes. There's an old saying, love is not possession, it's participation. That's exactly what we means. It's participation in one another's story, not to control it, but to share in it. It's cooking dinner side by side, making plans for next spring, or simply saying, we'll get through this, and meaning it. So when you start hearing we, know that something beautiful has taken root. You're no longer a visitor in his world. You're a co-creator of it. And that's the gift of mature love, belonging without boundaries, closeness without fear. Because when a man begins to speak in the language of we, us, and our, his heart has already learned what philosophers have always known. That love, at its highest form, isn't about losing yourself in someone else. It's about walking beside them, side by side, as one. Sign number 7, let's talk. When a man says, let's talk, most people hear it as an invitation to chat. But in truth, it's something far deeper. It means, I care enough not to let silence come between us. In Love After 60, communication becomes the bridge that keeps two hearts close. When we're young, romance often survives on chemistry. But in mature love, connection depends on conversation, on the courage to be honest, even when it's uncomfortable. When a man truly loves you, he doesn't avoid the difficult talks. He values the peace that truth brings more than the safety of avoidance. He would rather face the storm with you than live quietly apart. I've seen couples who've been together for decades rebuild their entire relationship because one of them finally said, let's talk. It's not about solving every problem. It's about opening a space, a sacred space, where both hearts can be heard. Because words, spoken with care, can heal what silence slowly destroys. Many men, especially those who've been hurt before, find this hard. They were taught that speaking about feelings is weakness. But wisdom, especially in later life, teaches something different. The philosopher Epictetus once said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. A man who loves deeply understands that. He listens more than he lectures. And when he does speak, it's not to win, it's to connect. Let's talk means you matter enough for me to listen. It means I'd rather face the truth with you than hide from it alone. And in that moment, conversation becomes something sacred again, a meeting place of souls. Because Love After 60 isn't only about companionship. It's about connection, about being understood. And every time he says, let's talk, he's building a bridge back to you, one word at a time. When a man truly loves you, you don't have to question it. You'll feel it in the way he speaks, the way he listens, the way he shows up. His words, his tone, his presence, they all align. Love in our later years isn't about intensity anymore. It's about serenity. It's about finding peace in partnership. If you found someone who gives you that quiet sense of belonging, hold it close. And if you're still waiting, remember, love doesn't fade with age. It simply becomes wiser, steadier, more real. And that brings us here, to the heart of it all. Because when love matures, when it ripens through time and experience, it stops needing grand expressions to prove itself. It becomes something quieter, steadier, truer. A deeply loving man may never make dramatic promises, but his every word becomes a reflection of how he sees you, cherished, valued, and safe. Love After 60 is not about fireworks anymore. It's about the slow-burning light that keeps your home and your heart warm. And if you listen closely, that light often speaks through the smallest phrases. The real proof of love. At the end of the day, real love is not about the words themselves. It's about how those words make you feel. When a man truly loves you, you feel secure. You feel seen. You feel like you don't have to fight for space, because he's already made room for you in his world. He doesn't just say, I love you. He proves it through patience, presence, and kindness. He doesn't promise perfection. He promises consistency. And you'll feel it not just when he speaks, but when he listens, when he shows up without being asked, when he says, let's talk, when he chooses to be by your side, day after day, quietly, faithfully, without spectacle. That's the beauty of love in our later years. It's no longer a storm. It's a calm sea. carrying two souls who have finally learned the rhythm of the waves. Love's gentle evolution. Love in youth often burns fast and loud. Love in maturity glows slow and steady. It's no longer about seeking validation. It's about offering peace. In your 60s, 70s, or beyond, love becomes a choice made each morning, a promise renewed through ordinary acts. The morning coffee, the gentle touch, the simple words, "How are you feeling?" And these small acts are not small at all. They're the building blocks of a beautiful life shared between two people who've both lived enough to know that the most meaningful moments are often quiet ones. When you hear him say, "I'm on my way," you'll know he's choosing to be present. When he says, "I love you," you'll hear not a phrase, but a vow. When he says, "You're mine," it's official. You'll feel claimed with pride, not possession. When he asks, "How are you feeling?" you'll sense a tenderness that only true understanding brings. When he tells you, "I want to make you happy," you'll see his joy reflected in your own. When he says, "we," you'll feel the quiet joining of two lives. And when he whispers, "Let's talk," you'll know your connection is safe, because he values peace more than pride. These are not just signs of love. They are the language of devotion, spoken fluently only by those who have lived enough to understand it. The timeless nature of love. If you found someone who gives you that sense of calm belonging, hold on to it with both hands. Don't take the gentleness for granted. It's rare. It's earned. And if you're still waiting, don't lose faith. Love doesn't retire. It doesn't fade with time. It matures. It gets quieter, wiser, more certain. It may not arrive with fireworks or fanfare anymore, but when it does come, it will feel like a steady sunrise after a long night. Soft, golden, and inevitable. Because love, at any age, is still life's greatest miracle. The quiet magic of mature love. Love after 60 isn't about chasing passion. It's about building peace, together. It's knowing that companionship is not the absence of loneliness. It's the presence of understanding. It's realizing that someone's steady breathing beside you at night is its own kind of poetry. And it's knowing that even now, perhaps especially now, your heart is still capable of wonder. So if you've found someone who listens, who shows up, who keeps your heart steady, treasure that love. And if you're still waiting, keep your heart open. Because love never truly leaves us. It simply waits for us to be ready again. At any age, love can still surprise you. It can still save you. It can still make your heart feel 20 again. If this reflection spoke to your heart, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Golden Life Wisdom for more reflections on senior romance, dating after 60, and the timeless beauty of mature connection. Thank you for sharing this quiet moment with me. Until next time, take care of your heart and keep the light of love burning.